Hello, I'm William Cook, and this is my video discussion board presentation. I did my research on David Crockett, also known as Davy Crockett in the legends. Most of the research I did was built around the differentiations between David Crockett and Davy Crockett, i.e. the human and the legend. Now, David Crockett was a frontiersman. He was a military man, a father, a husband, and an American politician. Davy Crockett was able to withstand lightning bolts, killed his first bear when he was 3 years old, and was able to jump rivers. Obviously, there's a big difference between the two. Joseph John Arpad wrote David Crockett, an original legendary, eccentric, and early American character. And he heavily relied on the letters from David Crockett himself, his journal entries, his bills that he was involved in during his political run, and as well as his speeches. David Crockett was certainly a humble individual. Joseph John Arpad arrives at the fact that there was something very enticing about him, the way he dealt with people that made people drawn to him. David Crockett never understood this. He writes to his son that for one reason or another, people always want to get a look at him, just get eyes on him because he was such a legend built up. He never understood it. He certainly exploited his fame. During his political run, he experienced financial losses, and he wrote his autobiography merely to cover the losses. Joseph John Arpad also heavily focuses on his relationship with Andrew Jackson, the president at the time, of who David Crockett heavily opposed, specifically the Indian Removal Act. There's a famous speech afterwards. First of all, his relationship and his opposition to Andrew Jackson essentially lost him his political seat. And during that last election, he had that famous speech where he said, "You can go to hell, I'm going to Texas." And that's where he went, was the Alamo, which is where the second dissertation I researched heavily covers. Stephen Joseph Olechek, Inventing the Alamo, the Creation of American Myth. They cover extensively David Crockett's background. Now, his fame was well established by the time he went to the Alamo. People knew him as the raccoon skin hat wearing frontiersman that saved the day and was an American symbol. Now, you can understand that's nothing new for America. There's always these legends built, the George Washington apple tree story, for example. America thrived on having these examples of an American hero. And Mr. Olechek heavily covers that in the background of David Crockett. He uses the research methods similar to Mr. Arpad, covering his journal entries, his letters to his son specifically, to really build the character of who he was. Now, there's also an extensive research done on the Alamo, where David Crockett fought and ultimately died going against Santa Anna. Now, after his death, the Daughters of the Republic of Texas kept his legend alive for the similar reasons that his legend was built. He was supposed to be an American symbol, or a shrine of liberty, as Mr. Olechek describes it as. He was well known in America and also Mexico. With Santa Anna in Texas, a book written by Jose Enrique de la Peña, he describes the death of David Crockett. He describes him as the naturalist. He was the naturalist David Crockett, well known in North America for his unusual adventures, who had undertaken to explore the country and who, finding himself in Bayard at the very moment of surprise, had taken refuge in the Alamo. He was known to everybody. Now, these legends continued. Mr. Olechek also describes the maintaining of the legend, specifically in Hollywood, with John Wayne's movie made in 1960, or the Disney interpretations of it. David Crockett was a man, and he was also a legend.